Hi guys. We've talked about summary a little bit last week and previously, and we've seen summary with this chart. So whenever we've talked about doing a summary, we've talked about what does your main character want, but what is their problem? So how did your main character solve that problem? And then what is the ending? Today, I just want to introduce to you another way to think about summary, and I'm going to model it again with enemy pie. Okay, so another way to think about it is to kind of chunk your story into different pieces. So, for instance, first you want to think about your characters. And so, with enemy pie, I'm going to think about my main character and his enemy. I'll also think about dad because he played a big part in that story. You also want to talk about the setting or where your story is taking place. And in Enemy Pie, it took place at our main character's house and our enemy's house. Um, and then I want you to think of the problem and solution. So our problem was that our main character had an enemy, and our solution was that we made an enemy pie for him and hung out with our enemy all day. And then when you're telling your story, you want, just like when writing, you want to tell your events in order, because if you don't tell them in order, then you can kind of get confused on what actually happened. So with Enemy Pie, I'm going to start with my main character having a problem with his enemy, and then him sharing with his dad this problem with his enemy, and how dad had the solution to it, and how dad made this pie for his enemy and told our main character that he had to hang out with the enemy all day in order for this pie to work. So he did. He went over to his enemy's house and they hung out. And then after they were done hanging out there, they both went back to our main character's house, and then enjoyed the pie, and it ended up being like a happily ever after. Which comes to the last part of you telling your summary is the ending, which is how they ate the pie at the end and they became friends rather than enemies. He no longer had an enemy. Okay, so here's the deal. That's very similar to our Somebody Wanted But So Then. And with this being like our third or fourth day talking about summary, I do want you to try this on your own. You're going to go to Epic, and I've assigned everybody Ballet Ball. It's a book, and I want you to read it for me, and then come into Canvas and give me a summary of what that book was about. Okay, so go ahead and go do that. Summary ticket out is what your job to do is for today, and then please let me know if you have any questions that I can help you with.